Garmin guys. So the battle that we thought would ensue has. The youth, the young kids from the Bontrager team, the big teams like Bissell and United Healthcare versus the World Tour riders that are solo and don't have the numbers in this final push to the line.
Out in front, doing it solo, all by himself at the moment, Phil Gaiman. Continuing to talk about some of his results over the past years. Last year in the time trial here at Nationals, he was 16th. The year before that, 25th in the time trial. What Gaiman's known for, though, cycling aficionados know, Robbie, is his sense of humor. He's also a cycling advocate. He runs podium cycling as well as something called Share the Damn Road. I'll put that in quotes. But those are his words, not mine. But Phil's certainly a guy that not only gives it all on the road, but definitely willing and does give back to the sport.
Last year, he really burst onto the scene on the Kenda 5-hour energy team. Frankie Andreu directed this guy for a year, and he really developed there. Now that they have Paco, he's moved over to the Bissell team. He's one of the team leaders over there, and he's really starting to blossom as a professional.
Bookwalter just putting his hand up, the only member of the BMC squad, but you did a great job noting earlier, Robbie, that he does come with a full support staff. He's got the team car, the Swan Ure, everybody here to help him out. It'll be interesting to see as the team car does pull up, whether this is just some last-minute instructions and possibly going over some last-minute team tactics based on the makeup of this group.
This is actually pretty late in the day. He's getting his last feed. They actually shut down feeding from the car at some point. I'm not exactly sure when that is going to happen, but it's got to be right on the line. And Bookwalter being so experienced here, he's going to that last feed, getting that little help from the car, a little advice from his team director there, Jackson Stewart in the car, and back rejoining that main peloton. Only one rider out front. He's still very much in this bicycle race.
He is indeed. He makes that hard left-hand turn, Robbie, a final 250 meters until he will have only 2 laps to go. 10 miles left in the men's road race national championship. Phil Gaiman, head down, giving everything he has. He's never placed in the top 10 at the Nationals. Can he go all the way to the top step? He crosses at 3:43.59. The counting begins. The Chasers are going to be roughly 15 seconds, call it 16 and change behind. And with the mass of that group, you figure whenever they flip the switch, they should be able to reel Gaiman in. But we saw Mara Abbott dangle ever so far away and be unable to be catched before the mechanical.
Now, although the other teams have more numbers in this final peloton, it's not an absolute guarantee that they can bring this guy back. There's tired riders out there, Craig.
With 2 laps to go, we'll see once again if Phil Gaiman can maintain that lead. We'll be back with those final 2 laps in a moment.
Well, Gaiman makes his way through 3 hours and 45 minutes into this, what will end up being 101 miles.
We welcome you back to the scenic city, Chattanooga, Tennessee, doing their best to prove to America that they are one of America's premier bicycle destination. The city has embraced not only this year's national championship with a 3-year commitment, but also along the banks of the Tennessee River. You can rent bikes. They've got a bicycle transit program that allows you to rent them for any length of time. You can, for $75 for a whole year, use bikes at one of 80 different spots around downtown to get around as we bring you back to live pictures here. VW, what a great sponsor of here at the National Championship. And what does Chattanooga and Volkswagen in terms of cycling have in common? Let's learn.
Still struggling with those injuries.
I get the question about why is Volkswagen in cycling, and I think it's really just a great fit. You know, with Think Blue, it's about being environmentally friendly, but doing it while it's still fun, and I think bike racing really kind of embodies that. I think the fun part here, you know, being around the Volkswagen activation here at the USA Cycling National Championships is that there's something for everyone. You watch the race, you see what's happening out on Lookout Mountain, but while you're here, you hang out, eat a waffle, see what's going on, and understanding what Volkswagen does for cycling. I think it's a great thing. Being here in Chattanooga is great because they've really embraced cycling just like Volkswagen has. It's a really great fit. The city's really gotten behind it. You know, there's bike share bikes around town. You can come and hang out. You know, we travel to races all over the world. To see a city kind of get behind cycling like this is really awesome.
Use the hashtag.
As Tim Johnson just said, total commitment from Volkswagen, not only to the cycling community, but to these national championships. And I said it during the time trial, my daughter Madison loves her Passat, which is made right here, or was made in Chattanooga. Phil Gaiman acting like he's got a Passat engine underneath the hood. He's going up the hill, about to make a turn and come back over that Tennessee River. And he has been impressive in these final miles.
He's been off the front for a while, actually opening up his gap from 15 to 20 seconds. When he went across the start-finish line, he had 15 seconds. We just got word that now he is 20 seconds ahead. He is hammering away. And I think what's interesting in the peloton is these guys cannot organize themselves. They can't figure out who should be chasing. One of the teams with the most to lose, besides Brent Bookwalter here of BMC, is going to be United Healthcare. They have Kyle Regin, who was third here on 2 occasions. They need to bring this back together. They have the horsepower in this group to do it. He's got a great opportunity if it does come to a sprint.
18 men in this chasing group, but as you just noted, Robbie, somebody has to play field marshal. Somebody's got to be road captain of this hodgepodge of teams and just say, look, guys, none of us are going to benefit if we don't work together, because guess what? Phil Gaiman isn't just going to sit up and let us catch him.
And now he's within 9 miles of the finish of this bicycle race. His gap is very, very stable. To mount a chase now is going to take a big effort and a definite organization back in that main bunch.
We both know, and a lot of our cycling fans out there on Universal Sports are aware, that once you get into these technical turns, it doesn't give any advantage to the chasing group, because en masse, they actually have to slow that whole group down just a little bit more than you do when you're an individual, and you can take those turns just a little bit tighter and a little bit faster.
We have Jelly Belly on the front. They're doing their job to get Freddie Rodriguez in position. And then, of course, we have United Healthcare in second. They realize that they have the best horse in the race in Kiel Reinen, as well as Freddie Rodriguez. So those two teams finally bonding together here to try to bring back Phil the Thrill Gaiman.
As we tick off Matt Boucher, we finally see the jersey there, number 3. Once again, Tom Zerbel still in the mix, thinking he's got a chance. Caleb Fairley as well. Freddie Rodriguez finally comes through. Alex Howes and Ted King. You can see as the picture broke up the lime green jersey of Cannondale.
We also saw the 2 riders from Bontrager, Lawson Craddock and Gavin Mannion, as well as Nate Brown. I think all 3 of them are in there. Here we got Phil Gaiman coming across that downhill turn. He is getting out of his seat. He looks very smooth. He's not laboring at all. He's keeping that nice cadence. His head is nice and low. He gets himself back up to speed quickly, finding the smooth parts of the road. You can see he's on that smooth section, a little bit less rolling resistance. He's got this race right in front of him. He's opened the gap now up to 25 seconds. He is going away from this peloton.
We're going to take a short break right now so that we can bring you the finish of the race in its entirety. We've got a chasing group of 19. It's Phil Gaiman's day up to this point.
Or 10-second advantage because the adrenaline at that point will definitely...
No more interruptions before the finish of our national championship for the men in this road race. Phil Gaiman has added another 5 seconds to his advantage. He is up to 25 seconds ahead of that massive group of 18 riders. And Robbie, you said it, they just can't seem to either organize or fully commit to catching the one man that's in front of them.
It's been interesting how this tactic is played out at the end. There's not any team with any the big numbers out there. United Healthcare has the most riders in this group in 3, and they're at the front doing everything they can to get Kiel Reinen an opportunity for victory. But let me tell you, Phil Gaiman is making it very, very difficult for this group to make any headway. These World Tour guys, maybe they'll get together. Maybe Ted King, maybe Brent Bookwalter, and Matty Boucher will get together and form some sort of assault, or maybe we'll see a lone attack by one of the superstars of cycling.
Good times.
Once they cross the start-finish line, it will be one final circuit before we declare our national champion. We just said at the moment, Phil Gaiman has done an amazing job of growing this gap throughout the streets of downtown Chattanooga. We talked about how Gaiman has been training at altitude in Big Bear. Real fast, Robbie, talk about how much strength that can actually give you, how much extra it improves a rider's endurance.
Being able to train and live at altitude and then coming down to sea level, you have all those red blood cells. Your body is adapted to less oxygen. So when you come down to sea level and there's more oxygen in the air, you have a little extra power in those legs. And look at how smooth he is riding. Hands draped over the bars. These roads are smooth. He's not worried about any bobbles. He grabs the bars when he needs a little bit more control, but his cadence is wonderful, taking great lines through the turns. He's done this circuit a bunch of times. He is on a roll.
This is the setup, the descent down into the final turn. Phil Gaiman will make that left turn and have one more lap to go. 5 miles away, you can see him sit up, scrubbing the speed, shaking the legs, trying to work that little bit of lactic acid out of there, up out of the seat to increase his top speed. Phil Gaiman coming in, the crowd letting him hear it. We're almost at 4 hours of racing. He is your leader. This crowd knows he is one lap away from being crowned this year's national champion.
He loves to hear that bell signifying 1 lap to go, and all these people that have come out to support this race is giving Phil an added lift to his brain, to his mental energy. He's absorbing all that noise, lifting his level just that much higher.
You and I just got chills. I know he had to. This is the Chasing Peloton. It's going to be right around 20 seconds, maybe a little over. Keep in mind, this group has not been able to put any time into Phil Gaiman, and it actually looks like Gaiman is continuing to stretch his lead. It's at 30 seconds, 31 seconds with number 91, Alex Hagman from Jelly Belly leading the crew across, but 31 seconds, Robbie. Phil Gaiman stronger than them all.
Phil Gaiman putting in an absolutely incredible ride. You can see the Jelly Belly rider Hagman doing everything he can